Here comes a doozy to kick things off. Mr. House, a church pastor and bishop, is accused of potentially fathering a child with a woman 28 years his junior. The complexities of his role and personal life come into question as he navigates the allegations in court. Just wait, it's about to get even more tangled.
Mr. House, you're a church pastor and bishop who may have fathered a child with a woman who's 28 years younger than you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did that just happen? Ms. Webster admits to her involvement with 3 different men during the time of her daughter's conception, including Mr. House. This revelation sets the stage for a tangled and emotionally charged legal dispute. Brace yourself. The next part is a jaw-dropper.
Ms. Webster, you admit you were involved 3 different men during the time you conceived your daughter, including Mr. House.
Yes.
Can you believe this twist? Bishop House recounts the beginnings of his relationship with Ms. Webster, emphasizing his human needs despite his pastoral duties. This narrative sets a complex backdrop, blurring the lines between personal failings and pastoral responsibilities. Next up, we delve deeper into their scandalous connection.
It started with me leaving assignment that I had in Jacksonville, moving to Buffalo, New York, to take on a new assignment. But I'm also a man. I want to stress that right away, that I'm a man and I have manly needs. So it doesn't mean that I won't see a woman. I'm also a pastor. I met her. We began to talk. She went through a tragedy. She lost her mom. I went through tragedy. I lost my child.
The plot thickens substantially here. As the relationship details unravel, Bishop House contemplates a serious relationship with Ms. Webster, while she shares her perspective, highlighting a relationship that began under the guise of a church meeting but quickly turned personal and intimate. You won't want to miss what's coming up. It's a real cliffhanger.
We met at a church. It was supposed to have been like a Bible study thing, but instead of that, it was like more, it led on to sexual, unprotected sex.
I didn't meet her at a church. I met her at a fast food joint, exchanged the number.
That's wrong, Jan. We met at church.
Oh, the drama escalates. In a heated exchange, Bishop House refers to Ms. Webster with derogatory terms, prompting the judge to intervene and remind him of the decorum required in the courtroom, focusing on respect and proper conduct. Fasten your seatbelts. The courtroom is about to get even stormier.
Quickly, she became a hoochie, and that's what it was all about.
Excuse me, is that proper language to use for a young woman?
Well, you know, in Hosea chapter 4, God...
Not in Hosea chapter 4. We in paternity court, and I'm the judge, and in this courtroom, we're gonna respect when. Now, you can tell the story without calling her name.
And the twists keep coming. Mr. Miles Jones, another potential father, is introduced in the courtroom. His relationship with Ms. Webster adds another layer of complexity to the paternity case, as he details their initially casual connection that later became serious. Hang tight, the DNA results are up next, and they're a real game changer.
At first, it started off as casual sex, 2 to 3 weeks, and then I started catching feelings. You know, she told me that she started catching feelings also, so we made it.
So you decided to make it serious?
Yes.
But at some point, she started sleeping with Mr. House. Did you know that? You knew?
No.
The air is thick with anticipation. Ms. Webster describes the turmoil and confusion around her pregnancy announcement, highlighting the challenges she faced in communicating with Mr. House, who had disconnected his phone and moved away without knowledge of her pregnancy. The climax of this episode is right around the corner, and it's nothing short of explosive.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was trying to contact Mr. House. Phone was disconnected. First one, I never knew he left, and then I didn't even get in contact to tell him until after I had my baby. He denied her. He wanted a DNA test. He didn't want nothing to do with my baby. His money to be on full when I asked him for diapers around.
I had to buy them diapers. I'm the one that turned
Girl,
the
let me
phone
say
on.
this.
Everyone's glued to their seats now. The climactic moment of the episode unfolds as DNA test results are revealed. Mr. Miles Jones is declared not to be the father of the child, bringing a dramatic turn to the ongoing paternity mystery in the courtroom. Keep watching, the surprises aren't over yet.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of House v. Webster, Miles Jones, pertaining to whether Mr. House or Mr. Miles Jones, it has been determined that Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father.
The courtroom is on pins and needles.
In the case of House v. Webster, Miles Jones, as it pertains to Mr. House, it has been determined by this court that you are not her father.
Get ready for a wild ride. Ms. Lusk, alongside her mother, is adamant that she knows who the biological father of her 3-year-old daughter, Samarai, is without a shadow of a doubt. Unfortunately, the man she claims is the father has sadly passed away, creating a fiery showdown with his mother, Ms. Page, who is equally convinced that she is not Samari's grandmother. Courtroom is set for a heated debate over paternity that promises more twists and turns. Buckle up, because the next revelation is a doozy.
You and your mother say you have no doubt whatsoever when it comes to knowing who your 3-year-old 4-year-old daughter's father is.
Yes, Your Honor.
The man you claim is her father has died, and now find yourself facing off against his mother, who is just as convinced that she is not your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
This part is a real tearjerker. Ms. Lusk lays out her tough journey as a teenage single mother, having gotten pregnant at 16 and still managing to slog through school. She voices her frustration over the lack of support from the father's family, pointing out how unfairly life has treated her. Her emotional account not only paints a vivid picture of her struggles, but also highlights the absence of the father's family in her life. Strap in, the emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
Being pregnant at 16, having to still go through school. These past 4 years, everything has been on me and my mother. And I feel it's completely unfair because he has a whole other side. My daughter is beautiful, and you missed out on 4 years. Not
Everybody's
only
a
me.
single parent. You're
You're
not the only
absolutely
one.
correct.
The air is thick with tension here. Ms. Lusk maintains that Ms. Page's late son is indeed the father of her child, sparking a fiery debate about motives involving money and insurance policies. Ms. Page throws accusations of financial greed at Ms. Lusk, who counters with a defense of her character. Their exchange peels back layers of deep-seated mistrust and conflicting narratives. Keep your eyes peeled. The upcoming scene ups the ante even further.
They're out for money. I had insurance on
What
my
money?
son. I had an insurance policy. They're out for
That
money.
we knew nothing about.
No, unless it's proven, it's not my son's
You
baby.
never
I
posted
know
it on
anything
Facebook.
about-
Have an insurance policy.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so this insurance policy, $50,000, you submitted that paperwork to the court.
You won't see this twist coming. Amidst a climactic revelation, Ms. Lusk recalls a personal encounter with Ms. Page, suggesting a previous meeting during her relationship with Ms. Page's son, which Ms. Page vehemently denies. This bombshell adds new layers of confusion and conflict to the already tumultuous proceedings, complicating the narrative about their relationship and the paternity issue. Fasten your seatbelts, because what happens next is even more jaw-dropping.
It was a normal time scheduled routine that I would actually come over there, and during certain periods, whether it was gym or my lunch period, I would go. The first time I actually saw you,
When you proclaimed you were pregnant, you was very petite, looking like an innocent child.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
had
Same
to
way I
school
look
to
now.
see my child. Of course she wasn't shown. She was just pregnant.
Things just got a lot more complicated. The courtroom hears multiple claims of paternity linked to Ms. Page's son, with Ms. Lusk and Ms. Page slinging mud about the nature of these relationships and who really knew what. The judge steps in to untangle this knotty affair, trying to make sense of the accusations flying back and forth. The intrigue continues to build, and you won't believe what's coming up next.
The very first thing she said to me is, my son is a legend. My son has women coming out the woodwork. Had no reason to be doing whatever he was doing. And Your Honor, we have never asked
At all.
Once she suggested bringing over a used walker. She went into one of her little, oh, that ain't my grandbaby. Make sure you find your baby. And she's publicly putting it on Facebook.
This segment is like a soap opera. The role of social media in the dispute is dissected, with Ms. Page and Ms. Lusk accusing each other of airing dirty laundry online for all to see. Their fiery exchange showcases how the drama has exploded into the public domain, affecting not just their perceptions, but also their emotional well-being. The judge tries to steer the ship back to calmer waters, focusing on the child's welfare. Stay tuned, because the courtroom is about to reach boiling point.
Posting things about Miss Love on Facebook.
She inboxed, and me and her went back on Facebook.
You're absolutely
and
that,
as
Miss
far as
Page.
the stroller,
What up?
No,
what
I
led
didn't
up?
know anything about a stroller because I'm not providing a stroller a child
It
that I
wasn't
don't
a
even know.
stroller,
my
it was a
son.
walker.
What?
Hold on to your popcorn. This is the big reveal. As everyone in the courtroom holds their breath, the DNA results are finally announced.
It has been determined by this court. The probability of relatedness between Miss Page and Samari Page is 99.96%.
Can you believe this? Shockingly, Ms. Martin accuses Mr. Dampier of being indifferent and cruel towards their 4-year-old daughter, Amia. She claims he refuses to accept paternity, which has fueled his negative behavior towards the child. The tension in the courtroom is palpable. Just wait until you see what's coming up next.
Say your ex, Mr. Dampier, is a cruel, petty little man, refuses to fully accept that he is the father of your 4-year-old daughter. Claim Mr. Dampier's callous indifference towards your daughter has gone on for far too long, and you intend paternity today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, the drama unfolds further. In a defiant response, Mr. Dampier expresses his doubt about being Amia's father, attributing his uncertainty to Ms. Martin's alleged infidelity. He claims that there is no way he could be the father, given the circumstances he describes. The plot thickens, and you won't believe what happens when we hear from Amia herself.
You say Miss Martin was a serial cheater with a stable of men in her rotation. You say you have evidence that proves Miss Martin stepping out on you, and there is no way you are Amaya's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Grab your tissues. It's heart-wrenching as the court watches a video testimony by Amia where she expresses sadness over feeling unloved by Mr. Dampier. This moment highlights the emotional impact of the paternity dispute on the child. But hold on, the courtroom is about to get a reality check from Mr. Dampier's side of the story.
He treats my daughter like crap. He's also played favoritism. Amaya has told me on numerous times that she's sad that her dad don't love her. Did a video testimony of how she felt.
And you submitted that to the court?
Yes, I did.
Dad is mean because he always makes me sad. I'm mad because my dad always makes me sad.
That's awful.
Yeah.
In a twist, trying to defend his actions, Mr. Dampier tries to justify his differential treatment of Amia by saying she is more disobedient than his other children, which he believes warrants a different approach. His reasoning is met with skepticism. Brace yourself for the evidential showdown that's about to take place.
Only reason why I treat her that way is Amaya's like more better. I got other kids, she's like disobedient, she misbehaves, so I gotta treat her accordingly. Like,
You're playing favorites because of your paternity doubt. You're not giving Amaya the attention and love that she needs and deserves.
As the plot thickens, Ms. Martin and Mr. Dampier discuss the evidence of infidelity, with Mr. Dampier presenting text messages that he believes prove Ms. Martin was unfaithful and further his doubt about paternity. The tension builds as the judge gears up to do some math. You won't want to miss what the conception calculator reveals.
Amber's a cheater. I got multiple reasons why I think I'm not the father. Always messaging guys. Like I said, I have for one instance, she came home late and I was messenger calling her, like didn't respond. When she come home, her hair all messed up, smelling like sex. I respond like, where you been at? She didn't have no proper excuse for where she been.
It's crunch time. In a crucial moment, Judge Lake uses a conception calculator to determine the possible dates of Amia's conception, correlating them with the timeline of Ms. Martin's alleged infidelity to assess the likelihood of Mr. Dampier being the father. Fasten your seatbelt. The DNA test results are about to drop.
Figure out if it is the same time. When was Amaya born?
2015.
2015. Then we'll press calculate. So if we go back to the text message exchange, the first set is January 3rd, and then the second set is January 29th. That is right in the window of conception.
Exactly.
I've never cheated on you, and you know that. Like, you are Amaya's dad.
You could cut the tension with a knife. With bated breath, the DNA test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dampier, you are the father.
Exactly. Like, he knows that.
The room is buzzing as we kick things off. Judge Lake opens the court session by addressing Miss Parker's claim regarding the paternity of her 6-month-old son, Malachi. Miss Parker asserts that the relationship with Mr. Brown is faltering due to paternity doubts. You won't believe what's coming next? Strap in.
Miss Parker, your relationship is on the verge of ending. You're summoning your boyfriend, Mr. Brown, for paternity test to prove that he is your 6-month-old son, Malachi's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The atmosphere thickens with suspense. Mr. Brown admits to initially stepping up as a father, but expresses paternity doubts due to Miss Parker's behavior. He has also requested a lie detector test to address allegations of her infidelity. The pot's about to boil over. Just wait until you see what's stirred up next.
Mr. Brown, you say you stepped up when Malachi was born, but began to have paternity doubts Parker's scandalous behavior. To the paternity test, you've countersued for a lie detector test to the extent of her cheating.
Yes, Your Honor.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Disbelief fills the air as Mr. Brown details their troubled relationship. The court delves into the trust issues between Miss Parker and Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown recounts how their relationship started well, but soon deteriorated due to Miss Parker's secretive actions, leading him to question her loyalty. Things are heating up, and it's about to get even hotter.
Well, when we first started, Your Honor, the relationship was good. We loved each other very much. Then later on, she just started doing things. I remember I called her. I couldn't contact with her. I don't know shit. I called her dad. He was at work.
Had a relationship and it was going well, and then she disappeared?
Yeah, just one day I decided to call, and I was like, yeah.
Hold on to your seats. This is a doozy. Miss Parker responds to accusations of her disappearance by asserting her need for freedom and independence from what she perceives as a smothering relationship, which Mr. Brown contests. The sparks are flying, and they're not slowing down anytime soon.
I was with my friend. He would not let me have no friends.
I let you have no friends.
I cannot even step out my friends to go have a dinner.
So are you saying you got to a point in the relationship where you felt smothered?
Where I felt like I couldn't go nowhere. Where I felt like I stuck in the house 24/7. He just want to lay up under me, and I cannot go anywhere.
Are you serious?
Yes, Your Honor.
This exchange is as intense as it gets. Judge Lake tries to clarify the sequence of events that led to the breakdown of trust, focusing on a specific incident where Miss Parker went missing, which she attributes to feeling smothered. Things are about to get even more entangled, so keep watching.
You just didn't know where she was. You wanted to know where.
As a precaution, just in case something happened. I mean, I trust her, but it's just...
Was it a committed relationship?
Yes.
Parker, why do you get missing without saying, hey, babe,
Because I feel like he's insecure, because like I feel like he don't...
Insecure about what?
He would not let me go anywhere. I always have to be stuck in the house 24/7.
I didn't say you had to be stuck in the house. Be taking the baby some of the time.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more dramatic, Miss Parker describes how she discovered she was pregnant around Mr. Brown's birthday and the subsequent doubts Mr. Brown had about the pregnancy due to the inexpensive test used. The saga continues, and it's a roller coaster of emotions.
Well, Your Honor, I got pregnant around his 25th birthday, and I told him I was pregnant. He said he didn't believe because it was a $1 pregnancy test. I went to Grady Memorial Hospital, and I confirmed I was pregnant. So I called him on the phone. He had a few minutes to talk. We talked about getting married, Your Honor. We talked about having other kids in the future. At the end of the day, I feel like he's insecure. He won't trust me.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats now. As Miss Parker recounts the birth of Malachi, Mr. Brown admits to being present during the delivery, but refrained from signing the birth certificate due to persistent doubts about the dates and his paternity. Buckle up, this ride's about to take a sharp turn.
So you were with her while the baby was born?
I was in the delivery room.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
I didn't sign the birth certificate.
Did you have a doubt?
Yes, a 50% doubt.
So you couldn't bring yourself to sign the birth certificate because you knew you had a doubt?
Then the dates, they're not adding up either.
What about the dates didn't add up?
Well, like she said, she got pregnant during June. The baby was born in January.
You'll need a moment to process this one. Miss Parker presents evidence to explain Malachi's premature birth, which she attributes to her health issues, attempting to clarify the timing concerns raised by Mr. Brown. What's revealed next is a game changer, so stay tuned.
My baby was premature because I had heart problems and I have high blood pressure, Your Honor, and I have evidence right here if you want to see, because my baby, and you can see as in his weight.
So this evidence is copies of your hospital discharge paper. It says that Malachi was born at 1,730 grams. So your testimony is that he was born early.
The plot thickens with every word. A discussion ensues about Miss Parker's relationships prior to Mr. Brown, which brings up potential doubts about Malachi's paternity due to the close timing of these relationships. The twists keep coming, and the next one is a doozy.
It really wasn't lasted. It was on and off. We just I'd probably say 3 days.
You're saying when you met Mr. Brown, you were exclusively with him?
Nobody. I ain't cheated on Mr. Brown. I was with Mr. Brown for 1 whole year.
Yeah, what about the days that you was going out when I told you no, don't?
But that doesn't mean I would.
Well, how do I know that?
This is the emotional peak. Grab a tissue. Miss Parker's brother, Larry Parker III, testifies, emphatically stating his belief in Mr. Brown's paternity and criticizing Mr. Brown's doubts as baseless and harmful to family unity. And just when you think you've seen it all, next moment will knock your socks off.
She has been with this man since day one. I have never seen her with anybody else. I have never seen her act like this. She is in love with this man. And for him to just put out there, you must be doing something. And it's time for him to just step up and be a man and just say, okay, that's my baby. I'm gonna be a father and I'm gonna do everything for her. It's time to work.
I just brought the baby home, boo.
Thank you.
The moment of truth arrives, and it's a jaw-dropper. Judge Lake reveals the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not Malachi's father.
Can you believe this opener? Mr. Hunt officially requests a paternity test to determine if he is not the father of Ms. Tinsley's 3-year-old daughter, Jazia. He asserts that their relationship was short-lived and doubts his paternity due to the nature of their interactions. Just watch how this tension escalates. Things are just heating up.
You have petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove that you are not father of Ms. Tinsley's 3-year-old daughter, Jazia.
Yes, sir.
Strap in, because this roller coaster is just leaving the station. Mr. Hunt accuses Ms. Tinsley of being a gold digger and asserts that her claims of paternity are influenced by his local success as a rapper. Ms. Tinsley vehemently denies these accusations, maintaining that her only concern is her daughter's well-being. The plot thickens, and you won't believe what's coming next.
You say that she is a gold digger and that your relationship with claim that the defendant has defamed your character, and she is claiming you are the father of her baby only because you are a successful rapper in your home.
Yes,
Not at all.
Hang on to your seats. This ride is getting wild. Ms. Tinsley expresses her disinterest in Mr. Hunt's career and financial status, emphasizing her need for her daughter to have a father figure. She reveals a shift in her belief about the child's paternity following a DNA test on another man, which confirmed he was not the father, leading her to believe Mr. Hunt must be the father. Keep watching. The twists and turns get even crazier.
You state that you could care less about Mr. Hunt's rap career, his money, and your only concern is that your daughter grows up. You admit that you were confident another man was her father, previous DNA test, but now there is no question in your mind that Mr. Hunt is your daughter's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not ready for this curveball. The court delves into why Ms. Tinsley might claim Mr. Hunt as the father, despite his certainty of the contrary. Mr. Hunt describes his prominence in his city's music scene and labels Ms. Tinsley a groupie, which she denied. The accusations escalate. Wait till you see what's next.
I'm more, in my city where I'm from, I'm like the hottest rapper around, not to be sounding cocky, toot my own horn. Radios, I do shows for any major acts coming to the city. I'm doing my thing. She's a groupie. She's got nothing going for herself. She's dead broke.
I keep a job.
This part is absolutely jaw-dropping. The backstory of their relationship is questioned. They met on MySpace and connected in person in 2008. Ms. Tinsley insists their relationship involved several encounters. Contrary to Mr. Hunt's claim of a one-time hookup, you won't want to miss the bombshells about to drop.
On MySpace a long time ago. And then we originally met in person like in 08.
No, Yana, that's not how it happened. I found out about this. I met her a few years back, but I only hooked up with her one time.
That's a lie. We had sex several times.
One time. Several other guys? What about them?
I'm single. I don't got no man. I ain't married.
Just when you thought it was maxed out, the heat turns up. The conflict escalates as Ms. Tinsley confronts accusations of her character and intentions. Mr. Hunt recounts discovering a post on Facebook by Ms. Tinsley, putting him as the father next to their daughter's picture, escalating the public aspect of their dispute. The next moment is even more explosive. Brace for impact.
Jump off, Yana. She's a groupie. I found out about this chick when she came to me about the baby. Found out about it on Facebook over my mother's. I seen it on the internet that she put my picture, put it next to her daughter. Put "You are the father." This was on the internet, Yana.
I sure did.
This is 3 years later too. Now let me get this right.
Absolutely mind-boggling how the plot thickens here. Ms. Tinsley clarifies the timeline of her accusations and her previous relationships, explaining the delay in naming Mr. Hunt as a potential father due to prior misconceptions about another man's paternity. And it only gets more twisted from here. Stay glued.
Because I thought another man was her dad. And I tested him and it came back negative. Okay, and you the next possibility because I was messing with you around the time I got pregnant.
You claim you had a one-night stand with Miss Tinsley. Contend you had sex more than one time.
At
It was
least
a sexual
no more than
relationship that was
5.
ongoing.
It was like over
What kind of drugs are
a
you
couple
on?
of months period.
But what you also admit to is that you were having sex with someone else during that very same time.
I was single.
This part will absolutely catch you off guard. The court discusses the impacts of Ms. Tinsley's actions on her child and her social standing, emphasizing the seriousness of her public claims regarding paternity. What comes next is something you have to see to believe. Prepare for a surprise.
You tested one man.
Yes, ma'am.
That you was your child's father. Because that was your boyfriend at the time.
No, not at the time. It was just my ex-boyfriend. We were still kind of messing around.
He turned out not to be the father.
Yes, ma'am. And then before he even blood test came back, I told you, Marcus, I said, if the blood test come back negative, my ex-boyfriend, you the next possibility. Thanks, cool. Then people start finding out what was going on. Then that's when he thought he's a big rapper, which he ain't making no noise. You local, you not even on.
This confrontation is a total game changer. A dramatic revelation occurs as Mr. Hunt describes an alleged incident where Ms. Tinsley confronted him at a club with their daughter, accusing him of being a negligent father, which Ms. Tinsley denies. The story takes an even more dramatic turn next. Don't blink now.
I kid you not. She came to the club with the baby on her arm yelling, "You are the father. This is your baby. Why aren't you taking care of your baby? You're a deadbeat dad."
Miss Tinsley, you never.
I never had my baby.
Yana, not only the club though, Yana. She's coming to the studio. I'm with me and my friends, my partners. We leaving that. She's showing up at the studio with this baby.
The stakes are sky high now. As the court proceedings draw near their conclusion, both parties express their frustrations and expectations about the paternity test, highlighting their emotional and social stakes in the outcome. Buckle up for the outcome and what happens next. This is going to be epic.
What is it that you want from this? You just want your child to know who their father is.
Yes, ma'am. I don't want nothing from him. My mama left me in the hospital when I was born. I actually didn't even grow up with my mama. I grew up in foster care.
What would you like to know in terms of child is yours?
If she's mine, I'm gonna take care of my daughter. I would appreciate apology, something to
I do
leave
owe
me
you
alone.
apology if she ain't yours.
When it comes to 3-year-old Josiah, Mr. Hunt, you are not her father.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Strap in for a wild ride from the get-go. Ms. Myers drags her mother, Ms. Madrigal, into court over the dad debacle. It turns out Ms. Myers is wrestling with a baffling list of 13 possible dads, courtesy of Mom's adventurous past. This isn't your typical family feud. Buckle up, the drama's just heating up.
Ms. Myers, you have brought your mother to court today because you claim she has no idea who your biological father is. You say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who father is today.
Can you believe this twist? Ms. Myers spills the beans on her rocky teenage years and the void left by a father figure who passed away too soon. Her mom's slow drip of dad candidates over the years only added to the chaos. Let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes as she digs into her past.
When I was 13 years old, I had a father figure in my life. He died that age, and when he died, I needed somebody to be there.
The feels are real here. Ms. Myers opens up about the emotional gymnastics of not knowing her dad. Imagine juggling feelings of loss and identity while guessing which dad might be yours. The emotional reveal up next is a doozy.
And so at 13 years old, how did you find out that there were potentially 13 different men that could be your father?
The list came from my mom telling me over approximately a year, maybe a little longer. She would always just say, you know, here's a name. I think to her it seemed like it was a joke.
Get ready for some serious nail biting. The spotlight turns to the nerve-wracking wait for the paternity test results. Ms. Myers is a bundle of nerves, hoping the test will end her lifelong fatherhood scavenger hunt. Fasten your seatbelt. The results are about to make a splash.
It's time to find out the results.
It is.
There have been 2 men that have been tested, and we have 11 others in question. It very well may be that one of these 2 gentlemen be your father. So this is to see if Mr. Derek Smith is in fact the father of Ms. Myers. The DNA test results show that Mr. Smith are not Monica's father.
I'd have to hear that.
Grab your popcorn. Here comes the big reveal. The air is thick with anticipation as the paternity test results are disclosed.
When it comes to Miss Monica Myers, Mr. Keith McCraney, it has been determined by this court that you are the father.
There it is.
The courtroom buzzes with anticipation as Mrs. Watts takes the stand. Mrs. Watts appears in court to challenge the paternity of her deceased son Alex's supposed child with Ms. Cheryl. She questions whether Alex fathered the 20-month-old Caden and has requested a DNA test to get to the bottom of things. The court nods in agreement with her request. The stage is set and the audience leans in as the plot thickens.
Mrs. Watts, you are here on behalf of your deceased son, Alex, who was tragically murdered just a few months. You stand here on his behalf because you doubt he fathered the defendant's 20-month-old son, Caden, and you have asked for a DNA test to determine the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
A heavy silence falls as Mrs. Watts starts her harrowing tale. A tragic backstory unfolds with Mrs. Watts recounting the ambush and murder of her 2 sons, Alex and Lewis. The emotional toll is palpable as she describes the horrific scene of arriving to find Lewis dead and Alex fatally wounded, later pronounced dead at the hospital. The room holds its breath, ready for the next twist in the story.
I was received a phone call to come to a shooting where they said that my son was involved. When I got there, I didn't know at the time that my other son was there as well. My 2 sons went to visit a friend who had some type of altercation with some gentlemen prior to my sons coming to visit their home. When my 2 sons got there, they were ambushed and murdered.
Ms. Cheryl steps up with unwavering confidence and a story of love. Ms. Cheryl asserts with certainty that Alex was the father of her child, Caden. She paints a picture of their deep relationship, emphasizing Alex's recognition and treatment of Caden as his son, despite their time together being tragically cut short. As Ms. Cheryl makes her case, the courtroom braces for the evidence to come.
We plan on having a family together, having that future together, but fortunately it was cut short, 3 years on and off.
And so Caden is 19 months old?
Yes.
And so he did get to know his father,
yes,
the man you say is his biological father, before he passed away?
Yes.
A murmur of surprise ripples through the audience as new evidence surfaces. A tense moment arises with the presentation of a text message, revealing Ms. Cheryl's previous uncertainty about Caden's paternity. She had admitted to a one-night stand during her relationship with Alex, casting serious doubts about who the child's biological father could be. Eyes widen as the courtroom prepares for the ripple effects of this bombshell.
Well, the issue was my son had went away for some time, and before he went away, he told me that Alexis was pregnant. I guess this was during the time that they were on their breakup. He was involved with someone else. Alexis, and she said that she didn't know she needed a DNA test. Sent it to me in a text message.
Do you have that text message?
I do.
Jerome, would you grab that evidence? This is a text message between you and Ms. Sherrill.
Yes.
Curiosity peaks as the secrets behind the secrecy are dissected. The discussion turns to why Alex may have wanted to keep the pregnancy under wraps, delving into his private nature and the complex personal dynamics, including Ms. Cheryl's initial reluctance to disclose the pregnancy due to her domestic circumstances. The narrative deepens, setting the stage for the much-anticipated DNA revelations.
Private about other people being in his business. I know him and I had a good relationship. After she had the baby, Alex and her had gotten back together. The baby was like 2 months old. to the house a few times with her and the baby, but he never said, "This is my child," but cared for the baby as if it was his.
The atmosphere thickens with emotion as Mrs. Watts opens up about her fears. The emotional stakes escalate as Mrs. Watts voices her hesitation to bond with Caden without confirmation of his paternity, fearing the potential heartbreak of losing another connection to her son if the results are negative. The courtroom is on edge, eagerly awaiting the scientific verdict.
It's not really like a real reason why. I just don't have transportation to go back and forth from the east side all the way to the west side. I don't have a car, so it's hard to get a ride to go back and forth. I feel like if she did want to see Caden, she has a car. You know, she could have came and drove.
Because, you know, for the past 6 months, we have been going through so much.
Yeah.
I didn't want to open that door and get attached to the baby and then find out that he may not be his, and then it'd be like I'm losing my son all over again.
Yeah.
A collective gasp is heard as the DNA results are finally revealed.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Lita Watts and Caden is 0.006%. You are not related.
Here we go. Ms. Lohman is in court with hopes that her fiancé, Mr. Mitchell, is the biological father of her daughter, London. The outcome of today's DNA test is pivotal, as it will determine whether their upcoming wedding will proceed. Buckle up, because this is just the beginning of a roller coaster ride.
Ms. Lohman, you are in court today hoping and praying your fiancé, Mr. Mitchell, is the biological father of your daughter, London. And you and your mother you say today's DNA results will determine the future of your family together.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things are heating up. Mr. Mitchell expresses his doubts about being London's father, sharing his concern that if the DNA test shows he is not the father, their planned wedding next month will be canceled. His cousin also fears he is being exploited due to his willingness to step up as a father. Just wait, the plot thickens.
Mr. Mitchell, you say nothing would make you happier than finding out you are London's biological father, believing there is no way you are. You say if the DNA results prove you are not the father, next month's wedding is off. So you're joined by your cousin who fears you're being taken advantage of by plaintiff.
Talk about drama. The ongoing uncertainty about London's paternity is causing frequent conflicts between Ms. Lohman and Mr. Mitchell. Ms. Lohman has never explicitly denied Mr. Mitchell's paternity, but admitted to the possibility of him not being the father, which strains their relationship. Next up, a peek into their tangled past.
Me and Mr. Mitchell, we fight all the time about telling Mr. Mitchell that London is his. He will tell me, no, I don't think she is.
But you've also told him that she's not.
No, I have never actually told Jonathan that he was not. I told him there was a possibility that he might not be, but I have never for sure told him he hasn't.
Grab your popcorn. This is a good one. The backstory of their relationship unfolds, revealing they became close during high school. Their friendship turned romantic when Mr. Mitchell moved into Ms. Lohman's family home due to his difficult home life. Despite Ms. Lohman having a boyfriend at the time, their relationship escalated quickly. Hold on, it's about to get even more complicated.
When we were sophomores in high school, we became really good friends. You know, he started opening up to me and telling me, you know, about his home life. He came from a very hard, difficult, I went home and I spoke to my mother, my dad about it. They were like, yeah, we'll help him. He ended up coming to live with us. I was really happy when he got away from that.
And so your relationship started while he was living with you and your family?
Yes, ma'am.
You won't believe this twist. About 2 months after Mr. Mitchell moved in with Ms. Lohman's family, their relationship became intimate. This occurred despite Ms. Lohman initially resisting due to her existing relationship, indicating complicated feelings and dynamics from the start. Strap in as we dive deeper into the saga.
After about 2 months of him living with me and my family, we were sitting on the couch one day just talking, and he kissed me. Told him, I have a boyfriend, we can't do this. And he just kind of shrugged it off and said, okay.
So at that point, Mr. Mitchell was just your friend?
About a week after that, we were in the pool, we were swimming under the water, and he kissed me under the water, and I came up. I didn't stop it, let it continue, and we ended up having sex.
Oh boy, here we go. Ms. Lohman reflects on the dates of conception and realizes she had more frequent encounters with Mr. Mitchell compared to her ex-boyfriend during the critical period. This revelation leads her to believe Mr. Mitchell might be the father, but the overlapping relationships contribute to the paternity confusion. The truth is just around the corner.
He never found out, and to this day, he still doesn't know.
He does not know to this day that you were also sleeping with Mr. Mitchell. Was this just a one-time thing when you all ended up having sex, or did it continue? Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor.
You have an ex-boyfriend.
Believed that he was the father until they split and she got with Jonathan, disappeared.
Moment of truth time. Didn't see this coming.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Mitchell, you are not the father.
Can you handle this twist? The courtroom gets a bombshell revelation as Mr. Benning airs his doubts about his paternity, stemming from a cheating scandal uncovered in a previous courtroom drama. He questions whether he's the biological father of his 2-year-old daughter, Robin, and his 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr. Making things quite spicy, Mr. Benning clings to hope, but is swamped with uncertainty. The tension's building. Just wait until you see what's next.
Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on. This infidelity has caused questions regarding your 2-year-old daughter and 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr.'s. Although you are hopeful that both are your children, now have doubts.
Yes, Your Honor.
This part hits right in the feels. Mr. Benning dives into a poignant tale about the loss of his mother when he was just a teen and his yearning for a daughter to cherish as his mother did him. This touching story deepens the emotional pool of his paternity doubts around 106. The emotional resonance of his narrative gains the judge's nod at 109. Strap in, because the emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
Well, first off, Your Honor, my mother passed away when I was 14 years old. She was my best friend. We spent every waking moment together. After she died, it, left me hurt. I always wanted a daughter, and I promised I was going to take care of her and treat her like my mother took care of me. I've always stuck by with that.
So having a daughter is so important.
So important. I will wait it.
You won't see this coming. In a jaw-dropping reveal, Mr. Benning shares that he received a text during his daughter's birth from another man claiming paternity. The scene unfolds dramatically, amplifying the paternity suspense surrounding his children. Just when you think it can't get more dramatic, the story takes another wild turn.
I was in the hospital sitting across from Kayla as she was pushing this baby out, and I received a text from a guy telling me to leave the hospital because that's his baby and he needs to be there.
What?
Like literally in the hospital. And I received a text telling me that the child that I'm waiting to come isn't mine.
Things get thick here. Ms. Bodine throws a curveball by presenting evidence of a DNA test that rules out another man as the father, briefly tilting the narrative to suggest Mr. Benning might just be the dad after all. This twist, it throws in a new puzzle piece, though Mr. Benning's doubts linger due to multiple infidelities. Fasten your seatbelts, because the result of this DNA test is a doozy.
So you had a DNA test on the other guy already?
And he wasn't the father.
And you submitted those results to the court?
Yes, I did.
Probability of paternity between you, other guy, is 0%. So he was not the father.
No, he wasn't, because Jermaine's the father.
Build the relationship. You still have a doubt?
Probably feel first off, their DNA test doesn't mean anything because she's on me with more than one person.
No one was ready for this bomb drop.
It has been determined by this court. Benning, you are not the father.
What the?
Kicking things off with a bang, Ms. Foster opens her case by asserting that she and her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Jackson, had planned their pregnancy together. She claims that Mr. Jackson abandoned her and has denied paternity, despite her belief that he is the biological father of their daughter, Jakia. Ms. Foster expresses her desire for Mr. Jackson to acknowledge his responsibilities and take care of his daughter. Just when you think you've heard it all, buckle up, because there's more drama just around the corner.
And your ex-boyfriend planned your pregnancy only to have abandoned you. Deny paternity. Are here to prove that he is your daughter's biological father. You want him to step up and take care of his daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Ms. Foster cheated on you multiple times during your relationship, and there is no way you are Jakia's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
With no gloves on, Mr. Jackson counters Ms. Foster's claims by stating that he doubts he is Jakia's father due to Ms. Foster's infidelity during their relationship. He suggests that Ms. Foster's multiple affairs during their time together make it impossible for him to be the father of her child. As the tension builds, get ready for Ms. Foster to throw a curveball.
Because, Your Honor, I have a 1-year-old child who we plan on having. Looks like him. He doesn't step up to nothing. I mean, he's posted pictures on social media.
That's not my baby. She don't even post the baby on social media.
I'm not talking about social media. I'm talking about real parenting.
In a plot twist you didn't see coming, Ms. Foster proudly declares herself as the best mother in the world. A statement challenged by Mr. Jackson, who hints at her alleged dishonesty about her sexual relationships, including with a man she claimed was her brother, but was actually another romantic partner. Strap in, folks, because the courtroom is about to turn into a roller coaster of emotions.
In the midst of us staying together, he told me I was going to be his baby's mother. I'm the best mother in the world. That's why he said it.
But the man that she had dropped her off at my house claiming was her brother was the dude she was sleeping with.
It definitely was.
Basically what the story was, she already came to my house by her so-called brother.
After a jaw-dropping revelation, Ms. Foster recounts the overwhelming moment she discovered she was pregnant again. She describes her shock and dismay, considering her young age and the prospect of being a single mother to 2 children. As the tension reaches a fever pitch, watch out for Mr. Jackson's reaction. It's a doozy.
I fell to the floor. I did 3 rolls around the floor in the doctor's office because I wasn't having no kids if I'm finna be a single mother to 2 children by myself. I'm 20. I told Marquise because Marquise was there. Physically, he was gone, out of sight, wasn't worried about him.
Marquise is the brother.
So I told him, I'm pregnant, could be the father, it's out of you and Sean. Off back, I told them. Slept with y'all around the same time in the same week.
As the story unravels further, the judge questions Ms. Foster about her decision to only bring Mr. Jackson to court, despite her admission of having multiple sexual partners around the time of conception. Ms. Foster explains her reasoning based on the dates, but the judge remains skeptical due to the overlapping relationships. Fasten your seatbelts because the courtroom is about to get even wilder.
If you know you're sleeping with 2 guys, why are you just bringing Mr. Jackson to court?
I went to the doctor's office, they gave me the conception calendar. I got pregnant February 21st. That's the same day you left. We're sleeping together the entire time. While I'm on in the shower every night, 3 times a day, lunch, breakfast, and dinner, and I was the third. 7 days to get pregnant, baby. Blanks, you shooting.
I'm not the only one that's shooting.
In a surprising twist, Mr. Jackson admits he has had no relationship with Jakia due to his physical distance and conflicts with Ms. Foster. He reveals his attempts to be involved in Jakia's life were thwarted by Ms. Foster, leading to a lack of contact with his alleged daughter. As the anticipation mounts, the DNA results are up next, and they're going to be a game changer.
Because I don't talk to her through the... Man, you don't even click. We get on the phone and argue, me, you, and my girl every time.
So is that the long way of saying you didn't spend no time with her?
4 hours away. I asked her, you feel me? I can go and get Jakaya. Oh, no, you're not bringing her up. My girl ain't got nothing to do with it.
Girl,
if this my daughter, you feel me, then why can't I be around her?
With everything on the line, as the episode progresses, the tension between Ms. Foster and Mr. Jackson escalates with accusations of neglect and miscommunication. The judge challenges them on their failure to cooperate and co-parent, emphasizing the importance of both parents' involvement in Jakia's life. You won't believe what comes next. Stay tuned for the DNA shocker.
Why haven't you said to yourself, girlfriend, I love you to death, but I got a beautiful little baby girl over here, and I'm supposed to be the daddy. I got to go make a way.
Yeah.
Why is that not possible?
I been said we can meet, you feel me? I did.
But
she
you're
said
saying
she was gonna
she
go
won't
buy
do
a
it.
car. Next thing you know, her excuse was her friend stole all her
So it's your testimony. You make a plan, but then Ms. Foster...
Going to get my little brother from St. Louis.
In a moment that will have you on the edge of your seat, the climactic moment arrives as Judge Lake reads the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Can you even handle this? Ms. Eubanks lays it all on the line, confidently declaring her belief that Mr. Wilkes is the father of her 3-month-old son, Maisie, and voicing her dreams of walking down the aisle with him post-DNA results. She emphasizes the test as the key to unlocking their future, mending the cracks in their shaky relationship. You won't believe the twist coming next.
Ms. Eubanks, you say you are here to save your relationship with the defendant by proving that he is your 3-month-old son's father. Say once today's DNA results prove paternity, you want to get married.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did that just happen? Mr. Wilkes throws a curveball with his doubts about Maisie's paternity, citing a missing emotional connection despite desperate searches for a sign. He lays it out. No paternal match could mean the end of the road for them. The stakes are sky high, and the next scene ramps it up even further.
You claim that when Maisie was born, you hoped for a sign that he was your son. But no matter how hard you look, it just wasn't there. You say negative paternity results end your relationship.
The end of everything, Your Honor. Yes.
Seriously, get the tissues ready. Ms. Eubanks is visibly shaken as she talks about the toll Mr. Wilkes' doubts have taken on her, tearing up as she details her emotional turmoil. It's a heart-wrenching scene that lays bare the personal costs of their paternity ordeal. But keep your eyes peeled because there's more heartache and drama just around the corner.
I want to save my relationship because we've been together too long. 1,002% sure that he's my child's father. I just want these results for him so we can move forward and get married like we planned.
And how has this doubt affected you?
It affected me, like, emotionally. We've been together too long, so you shouldn't have no doubts or no feelings that anything else.
You'll need to see this to believe it. Mr. Wilkes candidly shares the weight of his uncertainty, which has been keeping him up at night, literally causing him to sprout gray hairs at just 30. His desperation for truth is palpable, and it sets the stage for an even more intense showdown. Brace yourself. The emotional fireworks are just getting started.
Yeah, I mean, I stay up late. Sometimes, I'm stressed, really. Like, even growing gray hair. I'm only 30 years old. Like, me and him would be sitting sitting downstairs, I'll take them and we'll just be downstairs all the way 7 in the morning. I'm tired of just keep going on. I need real results.
Talk about an origin story. Ms. Eubanks reminisces about their fateful first meeting at a strip club, leading to a whirlwind romance. Yet, the narrative takes a dark turn as she recounts the suspicions and accusations that surface post-first baby, which threw their love story into chaos. What happens next? It's a doozy, and you won't see it coming.
The relationship started, we met each other at the strip club. There for a family member's birthday party. It was just love at first sight. Like, we was together every single. It took a turn for the worse. Our first child was born. We had took a little, I guess what he calls it, a so-called breakup.
Oh, the drama intensifies. Mr. Wilkes recounts a sketchy scene where suspicions of Ms. Eubanks' infidelity were sparked by another man's presence during a rocky phase in their relationship. This accusation adds another layer of tension to their already strained relationship. Fasten your seatbelt. The courtroom is about to turn up the heat.
She was definitely talking to other people at the time.
I was talking.
When you say talking, what does that mean? Does that mean?
That means that could be sex also.
No.
But we're just not together.
Well, that's not talking.
I never had no relations with nobody else but David. I talked to other people when we had that little split, but I never had relations with nobody else.
Now, this is a bombshell. Mr. Wilkes reveals incriminating phone evidence, a video that he believes shows Ms. Eubanks being less than faithful. This revelation sends shockwaves through the courtroom, dramatically raising the stakes and inflaming their already volatile situation. Watch out, the next part is a real jaw-dropper.
So I went through the phone one night and seen a video. You the only eyes for me. I have video of something that's showing me something totally different.
Did you bring that video to court?
I have the video.
What do we see here, Mr. Wilkes?
That's her when she said she had eyes for me. This is during our little separation. That's her dancing. She's bent over. She just slapped the camera. That's a guy behind her. You can't really see it. You kind of see it? You see that grinding?
Oh, I see it.
A glimmer of hope? Amid the turmoil, Ms. Eubanks shares the news of her pregnancy, a beacon of hope that briefly reunited them in joy and anticipation for their future daughter. This moment of unity provides a poignant counterpoint to their ongoing strife, encapsulating the emotional roller coaster of their relationship. But don't relax just yet. The saga takes another sharp turn right after this.
I had met up with Mr. Wilkes, and he had looked at me. He gave me this like weird little look. And then he just started touching on my stomach, and he was like, is this the little girl that we've been hoping for? I hope so. After that, it was just together again, like every day. We were still being a happy family. We was planning everything together.
This is the big reveal. In a climactic turn of events, the DNA results are finally disclosed.
When it comes to 3-month-old Maz, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Wilkes, you are the father.
Strap in. We're diving right into the drama. Judge Lake drops a bombshell on Mr. Hopkins, declaring he is not the father of the child in question, which knocks him back a bit. His reaction is a mix of shock and a touch of what just happened here as he processes this game-changing news. This revelation cranks up the intensity for the drama that unfolds next. Buckle up, there's more turbulence ahead.
Previous time you were in this courtroom, it was determined that your son was not the child's biological father.
Yeah, he did, but I still love the baby.
Mr. Hopkins, you are not father. You would also like to have current child that Ms. Smith is pregnant with tested as well. You both need to decide whether or not you want to have that. So this court will order that you go and get tested. I wish you the best of luck in the meantime. I will see you both. Court is adjourned.
Didn't see that one coming, did you? The courtroom is hit with the heavy news that Ms. Washup's son was tragically killed, adding a layer of sorrow to the episode. Judge Lake, with all the grace of a seasoned empath, acknowledges the tragedy, underlining the emotional and complex paternity issue now involving 2-year-old Jovan Jr., believed to be the deceased son. Next up, the plot thickens even further. Don't touch that dial.
A few weeks after I sent you away for that prenatal test, your son was tragically killed. You don't believe your son fathered the defendant's now 2-year-old son, and you are desperate for the truth.
Yes.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any spicier, Ms. Smith throws a curveball by admitting she gave Ms. Washup the wrong C-section date on purpose, fueling doubts about the baby's paternity and stirring the pot big time. This moment spirals into a fiery exchange, with accusations flying faster than a soap opera finale. Grab your popcorn. The next scene is a doozy.
It was a scheduled C-section. Actually, I called her and gave her the wrong date. Exactly.
I think she that. She did it on purpose because someone else is the dad. Why would you give me the wrong date? Because you wanted this person that was supposed to be the daddy need to be there.
There was gonna be someone else there who's the real biological father.
Money talks, and boy, does it stir up drama. The air gets thick with talk of money, as Ms. Washup accuses Ms. Smith of chasing financial benefits through the child by dialing up Social Security. This discussion paints a vivid picture of mistrust and the tangled webs of financial dependence within families. The upcoming exchange is even more loaded, if you can believe it.
The money.
What money?
CDs that his grandmama got
What
for the
CDs?
kids.
I don't call and ask nobody for nothing. I handle my child on my own.
It's just as well she
I mean, I want money. Where it's at?
Call like Social Security like you didn't call
Let me
Social
get
Security.
it. I called Social Security yesterday. I did do that.
She is full of it. Why would you call while you pregnant?
I'm finna have his baby next month, so I don't need Pampers. I don't need milk.
You need
Come
it.
on now, get it
And
together.
when you get it together,
it shouldn't even
it's gonna
matter.
be together when
it
these
shouldn't
DNA.
even.
And now, a word of wisdom from the bench. Judge Lake steps up with a mighty appeal for truth and accountability, pushing for a breakthrough in healing the family wounds. She emphasizes the necessity for the family to progress positively, despite their painful past and the swirling emotions around the child's paternity. Fasten your seatbelts. The DNA results are just around the corner.
I asked you why. If you go have the beat, then tell it. You in the courtroom. You're not standing in here forming like you performing, acting like you hair, mama crying about her son being dead, you rolling your eyes saying why, and I know you in here being disingenuous because there's no way in the world a mother, and that's why I gave her chance to tell her side, why I looked at you and said, why? What's going on here? It ain't enough hair in the world.
Here comes the moment of truth, literally.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hopkins is the father.